Hello friends, in this session we will be discussing about the static members and its usages. Basically we will discuss about the static keyword. We will start the discussion with the simple program class A, which will be having one static variable as 10. There is a static block it says SOP of, I will mention it as open lambda plus A. This. Now I'll be having a method which is again static, which has int I SOP of I into A has to be printed. This should be declared as static. Now there is a main method. I have not yet finished this class. This class will be having the main method. Okay, public static void main SOP of inside main I am invoking the fun method with 4 as an argument. So if I load this class into the JVM, what will happen? Till now what was happening was basically main method was the starting point of execution, right? But if I load this class into the main method, if I load this class into the JVM, the output will be completely different. It is not going to print you inside main, and then it's not going to print you it is not going to call you the fun method. First thing what happens is the output, let us understand through the output. The output would be open lambda, value of A is what, 10 would be printed, and then the main method would be invoked. Inside main, inside fun, I am passing 4 and a 40 will be printed. The reason is basically to understand the output, we need to understand how static members will behave. Static is just a keyword which can be used for 3 things in Java language. Okay, it can be used for variables, methods, and then blocks. It can be used for 3 things: variables, methods, and then blocks. Okay, now this is called as a static block. Okay, when I load a .las file into the JVM, what happens is all the static members comes into life even before the main method starts the execution. In all the static members, first the static variable will come into life, then the static method, then the static block will finishes the execution. This doesn't reside anywhere. So what happens, as and when the class gets loaded, the static block will be executed. But even before static block gets executed, static variable will come into life, and then static method will also be available inside the memory. Okay, so that is why what happens is this would have been available inside the memory, then the fun method will be invoked. The fun method has to be invoked, but still it will be available. Then the static block starts the execution. There is something here open lambda, that's why the first statement open lambda would be printed along with the value, because it has already been available inside the memory. Before the static block, the value of static member will be printed. Then the main method starts the execution. The output of the main method is been displayed as inside main and 10. Clear with this, right? So even before the main method starts execution, you can do something using the static member. We'll see the small output of this particular program. See here, there is a static variable z, there is a static block, there is a main method. So when I try to print the output, what happens is inside open lambda will be printed. I have not given any statement inside the main method, that's why I am not getting output, but I am invoking the fun method. So what happens is the value of z would already be initialized inside the memory. That value will be collected and it will be multiplied by whatever the value I pass for the fun method. Clear with this, guys? Okay, now we'll be discussing more about the static members. Before that, okay, we'll be discussing something more about the static members. Like, see here, there can be multiple static blocks inside the class. It's not necessary I need to have only one static block. Static blocks can be having we can have multiple static blocks inside it. Open lambda Java. The order of execution would be the order in which you have placed. Okay, open lambda Java, open lambda Hadoop. If I say, see, I'll be able to give these things like this. Okay, now if I put all those things into a class, what might happen? I need to understand even that also. Let me create an object. A is equal to new A. There are two ways where we can load the .last file. Till now what you have seen is that there might be two ways to load the .last file. One is when I say main method, what happens is the .last file will be loaded into the JVM, right? When I say Java C, you know, remember the first program, Java C file name, what happens? The compiler will compile and generate your .last file. The .last file has to be loaded. We use the command called as Java. Then here the Eclipse is doing most of the things, but if you say Java, a particular class name, it will be loaded into the .last file. But who loaded this class called as A right now? Whenever I say new, they say .last file which will be available after the compilation. That new will actually load the .last file and then create an object. Whenever I create an object, what happens? We need to understand. Basically, whenever I load the .last file, only static members will be coming, right? Now see, observe here. When I say main method cannot be found, correct, right? Main method is not available. What I did was, here I should have the main method. This fun method is not required. This should be available somewhere here. Okay. Now I will not be invoking the fun method, but for now you understand the static block execution inside open lambda. In open lambda Java, open lambda Hadoop will be printed, correct, right? Because what happens when I say new, the .last file will be loaded into the JVM and all the static members will come into life. But if there is a non-static member, when will it come into life? Int q is equal to 100. I say when can I access q? Only when I create an object of it. Until unless then I will not be able to access the q member at all. But z will be accessed immediately when the .last file has been loaded into the JVM. Okay. If I have not created an object of this, I will not be able to access it. Okay. I will explain you about that part also. Now see, system.out.println of, I can say a dot z I can access. Okay. Static members can be accessed through the class name also. See, when I say a dot z, what has happened? The .last file has been loaded and inside open lambda Java, open lambda Hadoop, and then from where is this printing? A dot z. Okay, a dot z, and then the main method started the execution, and then 10 has been printing. I hope this is clear to you guys. Let us proceed with something called as instance blocks. Inside XML. Okay, so now when I do this, what happens? Nothing has been printed, correct, right? I do that, nothing will be printed. Now when I don't invoke the main method, I am not loading the .class file, so nothing would be printed. When I say a.z, what happens? I am trying to load the .class file, so once the .class file has been loaded, all these things will be printed. But what is this part? This is called as an instance block. Okay. Now why do I require an instance block? That is one more thing what we need to discuss, but this is called as an instance block, and this will be executed only once whenever the object is being created. See, observe here, it's not necessary. Okay, when I create an object also, what happens is the .class file will be loaded. That time also the static block will be executed. See, and instance block will be executed as and when we create an object of it. Instance, it's related to one particular instance. Okay, now if you see, right now the .class file will be loaded into JVM only once, not every time when I create an object it will be loaded. So right now open lambda 10 till here it is fine. Whenever I create an object, the instance block will be executed and inside XML will be printed. So this is the concept of static. There can be a lot of members like instance variables, local variables, static final variables. Okay, we'll slowly discuss about more members of the class. Okay, but you need to be very careful with the static members. Static members will come into life even before the object is created. That is, whenever the .class file has been loaded into the JVM, that is when the static block will come into life. Okay, I hope this is clear for you guys. If you do like this video, please subscribe for the channel and give a thumbs up. If you have any questions and queries, please comment it out below. I'll be available and I'll be able to reply you back. Thank you guys.